What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're doing the quick picks for UFC Vegas 103 Kape versus Almabaev taking place this weekend. You know, the card is straight buns, like the card is unbelievably mid, but there are some high points on the card. We did lose out on obviously Kape versus Royval in the main event. We instead got Almabaev, who was going to be fighting Erceg, so we actually lost Kape versus Royval, Almabaev versus Erceg, and then we lost Almabaev's replacement, which was Alan Nascimento, briefly when Erceg pulled out, but no one really cares about that. But apart from that, card's mid, it's an Apex card. The order of it makes it look worse than it is, because if you actually line this card up with the good fights first, the main event is sick. Well, not sick, but it should be fun. It's maybe not fun, but it's intriguing. It's definitely a fight that could determine the next title challenger. Charles Johnson, Ramazan Temirov is a sick fight. Esteban Ribovics is just always fun as hell. He's coming off a KO of the year contender and a fight of the year contender here. My fight of the year against Daniel Zellhuber. And then you got Chepe Mariscal's always fun. You know, you got Mario Pinto should be making his debut. Should get a good finish there. Sam Patterson, Danny Barlow's pretty interesting. Haider Amil is always fun, but William Gomis really isn't. But yeah, look, I'm not trying to sell you that this card is good in any way, but just, yeah, I think having Brundage versus fucking Julian Marquez as the co-main event makes it look worse than it is, to be honest. Like, I think you could order this card in a way where people would be like, oh yeah, that's a solid enough main card on an Apex fight. Apex fight night. But without further ado, anyway, enough yap, let's get into the fights. This is not going to be a long video at all. And with it, as previously mentioned, or as mentioned in other prediction videos, the lock predictions, which I will put over a percentage confidence. Lock predictions are over 70% confidence. Right now we're running at 16 out of 18, so 89% for the year on lock predictions so far, starting at UFC Saudi Arabia. And then overall my actual predictions, we're running at 68%, closer to 69% though. About 68.5% after a rough week at Seattle. But we're looking to bounce back, get that pick rate back up towards 70% hopefully. And yeah, let's get started with the first prelim. So, first prelim, and I cannot wait for this one. This is a badass fight, let me tell you, kid. Luana Carolina. This bitch got KO'd by Molly McCann versus Montana De La Rosa. Slept with me last weekend. Montana De La Rosa's cute, somewhat, so she's going to lose. That's my prediction. Luana Carolina looks like an Indian boy, looks like a teenage Indian child, so yeah, well, that's the best base for MMA. When you're a Brazilian woman who looks like an Indian boy, that's when you pick him. You know, when you look lesbian, you know, when you look angry at the world, that's when you pick him to win. Montana De La Rosa doesn't look angry. She doesn't look like she's upset with her life. So yeah, I'm going to be picking Luana Carolina by decision. My initial lean was like, oh, Montana, her losses are to better opposition. And I've done that before in picks where I tried to see whose losses are more excusable. And then I picked the person whose losses are more excusable. I kind of just got to look at like how you're looking when they win. Montana could take her down, but I just think Luana's takedown defense is solid and her striking's good enough to do damage on the feet. And again, who's going to be gritting down? Who's going to be wanting that money more? Who's going to be needing that win because it's the only thing they've got in their life? I'm backing Luana Carolina with lesbian anger. Let's move on to the next fight on the card. So next up we got Ramazan Temirov versus Charles Johnson. This is legitimately the second best fight of the weekend, maybe third best behind Ribovics and Haqparast. But this fight's sick and I'm looking forward to it. And I've been talking about Ramazan Temirov as a guy to watch in the past. I said he was going to have a big jump up the rankings this year. And that was when I was initially leaning towards him winning this fight. Now, I still think he's very good, and I still think he could beat a lot of top 15 guys. Charles Johnson, I think, is one of his more tricky matchups. The matchmaking here is interesting. You'd think they would give Ramazan Temirov to one of the older guys or a really favourable matchup. Now, maybe he goes out there and lays out Charles Johnson, because I feel like that's his way to win. He needs to get a finish, in my opinion, or win based on knockdown based stealing rounds. Because I think if they go long in rounds and they complete this fight and it goes 15 minutes, I'm going to back Charles Johnson to win. I'm going to back him to do better, more output, better cardio, and he's got the reach advantage too. And if Temirov can't get him out of there in round one, which yes, he did to CJ Vergara, but congratulations, it's CJ Vergara. I don't know if he can get him out of there. I think Charles Johnson can do a good enough job at keeping range. Maybe he gets cracked and put away. That would be bad for my prediction, but that would be like, again, I got to stick with my initial leans if that happens, because I had a lot of initial leans which I flipped on. My initial lean was De La Rosa, and then I was like, nah, I won't pick her to win. She's more attractive. She won't win. I was initially picking Temirov about a month ago, a couple weeks ago even, and then I was like, Charles Johnson should win this. I don't want to pick an unproven fighter. I'll get to a few other ones on the main card, which I was sort of wish-washy about. But yeah, I think Charles Johnson gets it done. Striking's just a bit cleaner. Even though Temirov cracks, maybe I should just pick anyone whose name ends in a V. Maybe that is just the way to go. But again, I don't want to be picking this unproven dude. Like, we've seen guys like Azat Maxim, unproven, had like one win in the UFC over a lower level guy, and then he goes in there and Charles Johnson beats him. Yes, he did get cracked early. Charles Johnson did. So there is a risk for him getting put down. But I think with the reach advantage he has, I think he can do a good enough job. And he has looked very improved recently. Like Josh Van, Jake Hadley, Sumadoji, and Azat Maxim. Not in that order, but those 4 wins in a row are very good wins after looking at how he was... comparing how he was looking against other guys earlier on. Anyway, got Charles Johnson as the pick by decision. Let's move on to the next fight. You already know we're looking forward to this one. Big Andrea Lee on a 5-fight loss streak in 2025, fighting in the Apex. Gotta love it. Against JJ Forehead Aldrich. I'm going to be picking Aldrich because, again, I'm not picking a 36-year-old woman on a 5-fight loss streak. That being said, I didn't originally know what it meant, like Kape, because all these guys, like Grant Dawson is similar. He's got some weird nickname too, or like the fighter nickname. Andrea Lee, I'm not sure, she's literally like part of the fucking Russian Communist Party. And I'm not kidding. Like Andrea Lee, her nickname, KGB, is... I've searched it up before just to double check, because I'm like, I've heard of that, but I want to make sure I'm not bugging. It's the fucking State Security Committee in Russia. And she's got like photos of her weighing in, where she's just got like the fucking communist like hammer and sickle, whatever the fuck it is, symbol like on her bra when she's weighing in. So, okay, Andrea Lee is just a communist, so boo. No, I don't know, but what's she doing? Like, her husband's like a full Nazi apparently as well, which I can respect. I think, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw something about that. But anyway, I'm going to be going JJ Aldrich again. Less attract. Neither of these two are very attractive, but JJ Aldrich is just a little bit. Like, Andrea Lee was probably once attractive. She was like, had some hotness to her, and then she got older, which is acceptable. With his JJ Aldrich has always been ugly. Like, JJ Aldrich has always just been that kid, the girl in high school that never got a boyfriend, you know, the one that was just chilling, and that everyone kind of just acknowledged and was like, yeah, it's just JJ Aldrich. She looks like a JJ as well. I can't lie. In the most respectful way possible, you look like a JJ. Like, as a female, you look like a JJ. Anyway, I'll pick her to win, I guess. Andrea Lee, maybe this is the time where, you know, the big 5-fight loss streak ends. And again, it's probably going to be a split decision, so don't ever fucking put women's MMA fighters' money lines in your bet. If you're going to bet on women's MMA, bet on the fights to go to decision. That's the only bets you should ever have on WMMA. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. So, next fight, Lucas Almeida, Danny Silva. Now, I've seen a few people trying to snipe Lucas Almeida as like, look at this as an underdog pick, just because Danny Silva went to a split decision with Josh Kulabau. I thought he looked good in that fight, and I think Kulabau's not a bad fighter at all. Kulabau beat Melsik Bagdasaryan. Like, who does that? Apart from Gene Silva, of course. But I don't know. I think Danny Silva's good. Yes, he hasn't beat the highest level of competition, but I just rate how he throws punches. That's what we're going to be coming down to here. Danny Silva. Let me look up his record, because it's not impressive. I'm not going to act like... But like 9-1, 1 loss by decision. He's 28. He's going to be improving in his game. He lost to Kanan Kawali. I would have thought that was a black name there, but no, it's some Hawaiian dude. That also checks. Yeah, Kauai. Actually, that sounds more Hawaiian, to be fair. But yeah, he lost to a 9-2 guy a couple years ago. Apart from that, he beat Angel Pacheco. Pacheco's not good, but like he put a beating on him. He has hands, right? He puts together the punches well. And I just hate the fact that Lucas Almeida got finished by strikes from Andre Fili. Like KO'd as well. First round, got dropped. Bro, this dude went into a fight with Dan Ige coming off a finish and had people thinking he might be able to fluke a win over Dan Ige. Like, this guy was only like a plus 200 underdog against Dan Ige. Got starched in the first round. because everyone's like, oh, maybe Philly's got power now because he beat Lucas Almeida. I think Lucas Almeida's mid as fuck. I'll look him up. I'll get his record up for you right now. 15-3. It's not a bad record, right? But he's got 1 loss by finish, 1 loss by submission, 1 loss. He's 34 as well. Is he going to be improving in his game? Probably not. He last fought in June 2024. Timmy Kawamba win is okay, but is Timmy Kawamba that good? I don't think he is. Like, Timmy Kawamba's unproven, 26 years old. Bro's nickname is Twilight Timmy. I ain't picking this dude to ever win a fight. Already lost to Balagioki before that, and it kind of just got proven that he was mid. So, I don't know how much I rate the wins of Lucas Almeida compared to just I rate how I look at Danny Silva when he throws punches, and that looks like someone who knows how to fight. So I'm going to be picking him to win, and I can't trust the chin of Lucas Almeida either, because Feely is not a power puncher, and he put him away. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Next up, we got Douglas Silva de Andrade versus John Castaneda. This is a badass fight, kid, let me tell you. I'm going to be picking John Castaneda to get this one done, just because Douglas Silva de Andrade, his last fight was fucking painful to watch. I streamed that card, Tyra versus Perez. I remember it clearly. I understand it now, you know. I remember the pain of watching that Tyra versus the Tyra versus Perez card. And God, it was awful. Tyra versus Perez. Let me pull that up. UFC Fight Night. Let's get this card up, because this was the co-main event of that card, by the way. Went to a decision where Douglas Silva de Andrade landed 36 total strikes. Not even significant. 36 total strikes across 15 minutes. Crazy. Averaging basically 2 strikes a minute. That's nuts. And that card was dismal. You can look down at speak of before. Timmy Kawamba, Lucas Almeida by decision was on that card. There was like one. Asu Almabaev was on that card too, you know. We had a lot of random returns on this card here. But that card was so buns, and I streamed the whole thing, and it was fucking abysmal. Anyway, getting that out the way, what's the fight I'm predicting again? John Castaneda. Castaneda's not bad. He looked okay against Marquez. Marquez I do rate, though. I think Marquez is like a solid top 15 caliber guy. He put it on him a bit, but even Castaneda had moments. Like, he was never getting blown out of the water. He was just getting outsped and outstruck. But Castaneda, I think he's better than Andrade. Andrade throws big meaty hooks. He's a crafty vet. He throws big loop and overhands, big meaty hooks. You know, he's a tricky customer, as Lucas Tracy would say. And he can crack. He's big muscle, ball, big juice head, you know, juice head Brazilian, midget, 5'5", full of roids. So he could KO him. That is a potential. There is always the potential with the Douglas Silva de Andrade that he gets a highlight reel, big overhands KO. But if he doesn't, he's going to be swinging and missing all night, and Castaneda, I think, is just quicker to the punch. So I'll pick him to win. Not quite confident enough to put John Castaneda as a lock against anyone, but I do think he gets it done. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Kape Mariscal versus Ricardo Ramos. I'm going to be picking Kape to get this one done. I rate Kape. I think he's solid. Maybe not top 10, maybe not even top 15. But I think Ricardo Ramos is well outside the top 15. Like, you're getting consistently subbed in fights. You're getting consistently sort of just giving up and pressured and then quitting. Like, dude dove into a fucking guillotine from Charles Jourdain and just let himself get subbed. Didn't really fight out of it. He also got subbed by, who was? He's been, I think, Rosa. But Julian Rosa's let me double check this. Because if Julian Rosa's wrapping up guillotines on you, it's wraps. But like Ricardo Ramos, he got a few spinning elbow KOs back in the day. You know, but we get, man. Got a nasty spinning elbow. But is he good? I don't think he is. He's 29, so he's going to theoretically be improving. I thought Josh Goulabert beat him last fight. Again, why the fuck did they cut Josh Goulabert? Don't you worry. I'm going to be dropping a video on like a bunch of fighters that the UFC actually should cut. Like a mega terminating half the roster fucking video. If my Sherdog here wants to load and fucking actually give me Ricardo Ramos's record, I'll be able to see just to confirm my suspicions. It's refusing to do so. Alright, whatever. Ricardo Ramos is fucking mid. Okay, now, anyway, it showed me now. He's got 2 KO losses, 3 submission losses. He doesn't really go to a decision. He quits. Even Lerone Murphy got this guy out of there. Zabara Tukagov decision. And yeah, Julian Rosa wrapped up a gilly on this dude. Like, you're cooked. I thought he lost to Goulabert. Danny Chavez isn't even in the fucking sport anymore. What's Danny Chavez up to? He beat Bill Alger by decision. You know, that's not too bad. But yeah, Danny Chavez is his most 11-5, by the way. 37 years of age right now. Hasn't fought since. So I don't know. I just can't rate him at all. Ricardo Ramos, apart from the fluke finish potential, and he does look capable on the feet at moments. You know, Josh Kulabau had some moments there in the grappling too, from memory, but I don't know, I just can't trust him. Chepe puts a pace on you, he's physical, he imposes will, and he beat Charrier, even though I thought it was kind of a robbery. Still, Charrier is levels ahead of fucking Ricardo Ramos. Let's move on though to the next fight. Chepe's a lock for this fight, I'd say. Let's move on. Next up, Austin Lane, Mario Pinto. I'm not going to talk about this for too long. I'm going to blindly back the unproven Contender Series fighter because Austin Lane has no chin and this dude's coming off a KO. So, if you're coming off a KO at heavyweight fighting Austin Lane with no chin, I'll pick you to win. And fuck it, I'll make him a lock too. I have money riding on this dude this weekend. I'm hoping he's good. He appears to actually be technical-ish as a fighter, not just a blob. So, this is not no Rizvan Kunaev bum level fighter. Now Rizvan probably is going to look alright against blades, but I don't know, I just cannot trust Austin Lane's chin. Maybe there's a weakness in the grappling of Mario Pinto, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as fucking Rebellis to Spain, bro. So I'll back him to chin Austin Lane, hopefully. Let's move on though to the next fight. I'll make him a lock, why not? Moving on. Next up, Sam Patterson, Danny Barlow. Now, there is the idea of a Sam Patterson underdog, because that's what some people seem to be leaning towards. Or we could get the submission, and people are looking at Danny Barlow and saying split decision with Vretnikov, who just looked mid. Styles make fights Vretnikov. That was a striking, predominant fight from memory. And Vretnikov's striking's not terrible. It's not good. His grappling's awful. If Vretnikov had out-grappled Barlow, which I'm going to have to check now just to make sure I'm not making myself look like an idiot. Danny Barlow versus Vretnikov. Let's see. Get this fight up. It wasn't even like a split decision though. It was like a decision that ended up being a split because one of the judges was retarded and gave it 30-27. But it was close on the numbers wise. I remember Barlow had any takedowns landed. No, both of them went 0 for 2. So I don't know. I'll back Barlow though. I do think when he's on. And he said he had an injury last fight, so whatever. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I hope he looks good here. Patterson's just chinnable. We've seen Yanal Ashmill's chin him now. Maybe that's the thing at lightweight. But I know you can say, oh, back-to-back submissions. No one's getting 3 submissions in a row outside the rankings. Surely not. There's no way Sam Patterson's about to move up to welterweight and just light a man's skill his way to 3 round 1 submissions. That ain't happening. I'm picking Barlow by KO. This dude looks too chinnable. You're not fighting in London anymore, buddy. You beat Johan Linnes and you beat Kiefer Crosby. Those two are quite literally bum level fighters. GFL level talent right there. 47-year-old Gleason Tebow is putting a whooping on those dudes. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. I got Barlow by finish. Let's move on. Next up, Haider Amil, William Gomis. I'm pretty confident in William Gomis here, and I think there's value on him at minus 200. Haider Amil is good, but is he? Because he looked mid as fuck against Fernie Garcia. Now, maybe that's debut nerves, but it's really hard to tell. Now, he could go out and steamroll Gomis, but it's been a bad year for undefeated fighters. Haider Amil's undefeated. He's going to lose. But also, he went out there and tried to blitz Jung Yong Lee. He got cracked a few times too. Landed no... They posting the highlight looking like, look at this 38 punch combination from Haider Amil. He didn't drop him. It was a standing finish. I don't know how you punch a man 38 times in the head and he doesn't go down. Either he's got an iron jaw or you've got pillow hands. It took him a minute to finish Fernie Garcia as well. Garcia had moments and took this guy down. So I'll back William Gomis. His technical is well trained. Basically the Taylor Lapulus at featherweight. Speaking of, why the fuck did that guy get cut? He's on a win streak. But anyway, all good. We're keeping Brundage and Marquez around because you got to fill that co-main event spot. But I don't know. I'll pick... who am I picking? What's the fight I'm talking about again? William Gomis. I'm picking him by decision. He beat Brito in a fight which, yes, was kind of a robbery, but also, if you're getting to the point where its split decision is even close to robberyable against Brito, then you're doing well. So I'll back Gomis. He's going to be making improvements in his game. Haider Amil, again, he's probably full of himself. He's like, look at me, I'm getting all these KOs. Thinks he's some wrecking ball. Probably goes out there and just misses all his shots and loses. Moving on, though, to the next fight. Esteban Ribovics versus Nasrat Haqparast. I'm going to be picking Ribovics. I got him confident call. He's a lock. Trust. In Ribovics we trust. This dude's fun as hell. He's had sick fights with Raj Dubov, sick fight with Kamak. I think his name's Kamaka, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, Kamuela Kirk, sorry, that's the guy's name. Kirk, Kamaka, same shit. Kamuela Kirk beat him up on UFC 290, slept McKinney bad with a head kick in 30 seconds. I rate being able to finish McKinney early, because normally McKinney tries to finish you early, fails, then you finish him. Ribovics said, nah, fuck all that, and just KO'd him flat, dead, straight away. Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie shit. And then he goes and has a war with Daniel Zellhuber as like a plus 220 underdog and wins. In my opinion, the fight of the year. He's got grit. Haqparast has some grit. Haqparast has been put away. Haqparast has been rocked. Haqparast has won robberies against Jared Gordon. Like, that's my level that I'm at with Haqparast. Cool, you finished Jamie Mullarkey. You went to a decision with Landon Quinones and looked mid and gave him moments. That fight was sick, by the way. Haqparast is always down to scrap. This card would make me feel so much better about it if it wasn't in the fucking Apex. Because there's actually so many fights here that would probably get the crowd up and about and be fun. But like Ribovics Haqparast is sick. There's probably going to be a bunch of KOs. Like Temirov, Johnson should be fun. Barlow should either get a KO or Patterson will get a sub. Like, this card should end up being relatively fun. The only two women's fights are the ones where I'm like, yeah, that'll be dead. And the main event has the potential to be dead. But everything else I could see being fun. But Haqparast is on a win streak, but like, the win streak is John McDessie, Landon Quinones, Jamie Mullarkey, Jared Gordon by robbery. That's the win streak. Apart from that, it's hard to tell because the losses are Dan Hooker and Bobby Green. And then the wins, there's no good one. And Drew Dober. And his best win, I would say... He's been around the UFC for a while. Best win, what are we thinking? Rafa Garcia. I'd say if you take context into consideration that he lost the Gordon fight, yeah, his best win is like McDessie or Mullarkey. His best performance is the Mullarkey fight where he finished him. But like Rafa Garcia is probably the best guy he's fought and beat. Joaquim Silva, these kind of Mark Jacasey. Like, these are the level of guys that he's beating compared to... It's hard to tell, though, because Dober, Hooker, and Bobby Green's losses aren't bad. But again, where's the good wins for me to pick you? Anyway, Ribovics is good. I rate his output. I rate his ability to grit down, tough it out, put a pace on him in the third, maybe even get a finish. So I'll be picking Esteban Ribovics to get it done. And again, my money relies on you, Esteban, so don't let me down. Moving on, though, to the co-main event. It's a fucking abysmal fight, boys. I was going to do a video about... I should have done it today because the prediction videos get no views, but who cares? I was going to do a video on, like, the worst quality fight you could make in every division. Like, just the two bum-level fighters. Loser gets cut, loser off to the GFL type shit. Winner can keep their job for 2 more fights. Like... And because we're seeing it with Taco Tokos versus Junior fucking Bumfer, you know, Bum Tafa. We're seeing it with this type of fight here, where they're matching up like Weston Wilson, Jekka Saragi was a fight that got made a few months ago and happened, or like last year. These are the fights that we're making to really figure out who is the worst of the worst. So let me know in the comments, do you guys want a video where I matchmake legitimately the worst 2 fighters in each weight class, loser to the GFL, winner gets to fucking fight an undefeated prospect? Like, that's the type of video I need to be making. But I'll be picking Brundage as a slight underdog. He was almost at like plus 150 earlier in the week. I guess they just think because he is a quitter. And it is difficult to confidently, which is why I'd say do not ever bet any money on a Cody Brundage fight unless it's him to lose by KO. But again, you can't do that because it's Marquez. If it was anyone else, if it's fucking Cesar Almeida, I'd be like, yeah, you're in trouble, bro. If it's someone else, like if it's a Kopolov or a Sharo, even these like low end, like a Bruno Ferreira, even lower ends than that, fucking give me Dustin Stoltzfus to beat this dude. But it's Marquez coming off like 4 KO losses in a row. Apparently he's an alcoholic according to people that I've heard from. I think Guru mentioned it too. I saw some shit going around about him. And Marquez, he got chinned in like 10 seconds by Zach Reese. Like, that's a terrible look. Brundage, while shit and having a grappling weakness, does have some pop and he's got some power and he is a strong-ish dude. I think the difference is, like, both of them were never good. Brundage is just never good in general. Marquez was never good, but now he's even more washed. And now his chin's not even there. So I'll pick Brundage as the dog. My initial lean was Marquez just because I'm like, I'm never picking Cody Brundage to win. But then I clocked it and I was like, yeah, Marquez is shit. Like, he's going to lose. Anyway, let's move on to the main event. Main event, Manel Kape. Say it again, Kape. Against Almabaev. Now, this was an interesting one to predict. And I was kind of contemplating an Almabaev underdog. Just because Manel Kape historically does awful when he fights heavy pressure wrestlers with decent striking, but they just push a pace the whole time and make you think about the takedowns. That's the style that Kape hates, which is why I loved the Royval fight, because I was like, this is going to be fun as neither of these two are shooting takedowns. This is just going to be a scrap. And then Almabaev steps in, and I'm like, okay, objectively, it's more appropriate rankings-wise, and Royval already won 2 in a row, so maybe don't like call him out and call him a bitch for pulling out. But yeah, it's weird. Like, it's not like if the guy, what is I even saying? It's not like if the guy who was getting the shot up the rankings pulled out, then you're like, alright, fuck off then. What am I even talking about? Kape, weight miss, up the rankings. Royval, it's 4 a.m. Why am I doing prediction videos for an Apex card at 4 a.m.? Sorry, Royval, it's not like Kape pulled out of the Royval fight and it's like, why is this guy getting the opportunity? But Royval, again, probably should be getting the title shot if it wasn't for the fact. He definitely should be getting it if it's not for the fact he's already lost to Pantoja twice. Almabaev's tricky. He's a tricky customer. You know, he's a crafty vet. You know, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. Because he has the grappling threat. And anytime Manel Kape faces someone with a grappling threat, his fucking skill and aura level, his aura level just decreases by like 20 points. Like, his bar just halves as soon as grappling gets involved. He just shits himself, is timid as fuck on the feet, and just looks mid. Now, maybe he just comes in with this no fear mentality. I'm gonna fucking smoke Almabaev. Almabaev, though, was prepping for Steve Erceg, and then he was prepping for Ellen Nascimento for about 3 days. That's gotta be tough, getting a phone call being like, yep, you're stepping in, and then it's being like, yeah, nah, sorry, buddy, no one for you. But anyway, what am I talking about here? Manel Kape, Almabaev. Kape, way better striker, and I think the advantage in striking for Kape is a bit too good for me to ignore compared to Almabaev, who, yes, is a good grappler, but does he have anything else? Does he have really like dangerous submission threat? Not really. He has submitted people, but not many. Like, what's he doing? I can't be bothered checking his record, but Almabaev, he does mix in the takedowns well. He does have some good shots on the feet. You know, he gave some problems to Nicolau, who does historically have a very good takedown defense. And yeah, you can do the MMA math and say Kape lost to Nicolau. I think most people thought Kape won. But regardless, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the fight. It's intriguing. Winner, if they perform impressively, could definitely get the next title shot. Bryce Mitchell's probably just going to be chilling until they just be like, Bryce Mitchell, brother. My brother in Christ. What do you think about Adolf Hitler? You know, before the math, I don't think Hitler was that bad of a guy. You know, I think Hitler was a guy to go fishing with. That's what we're going to get. How have I ended up here? I'm waffling out of my fucking ass. How have I ended up on Bryce Mitchell? Jesus Christ, my brain is going all over the place. It's 4 a.m. I'm actually like, you guys probably think I'm fucking on drugs with how off topic I'm getting. I probably wasn't even off topic. I probably somehow segued that to Bryce Mitchell. I don't know how. Let me know in the comments. How did I segue to Bryce Mitchell? I'm fucking tired. I'm going to bed. Goodbye. I'm picking Kape. Didn't even finalize the prediction. Yeah, I think he can keep it on the feet for long enough. If he gets taken down, I think he needs to do a bit more damage. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, he'll do more damage on the feet. He'll win, probably. Goodbye. See you later. Fuck this. I'm too tired. Good night.